Hello students, so this is the next part of the poem Daffodils. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. So in the next stanza, the poet says that when he saw the daffodils, they were as if stars, just like we can see stars continuous or endlessly in the sky. In the same way, for the poet, though these flowers were growing only around the lake, but for the poet they were like uncountable, like the stars. Now here, continuous as the stars, this is an example of simile. Okay, and twinkle on the Milky Way. So he's saying that just like in the galaxy, there are uncountable stars that are twinkling all the time. In the same way, for him the daffodils were uncountable. They stretched in never-ending line. Again, he is saying the same thing again. He's repeating the same thing, that just like you cannot count the stars, you can see the stars as far as your vision reaches, or till the horizon. As far as you can see, you will see the stars in the sky at night. In the same way, for the poet, it seemed as if the daffodils were everywhere, not just around the lake, but everywhere, along the margin of a bay. So he is saying that these flowers were growing on the borders or on the edges of the lake, of the shores of the lake. 10,000 saw I at a glance. Now there are exactly not 10,000 flowers, but the poet is exaggerating. The poet wants to say that there were uncountable flowers, but instead of saying or using the word uncountable, he uses the words 10,000. So this is an example of hyperbole. He is exaggerating or trying to maximize something which might not be that much, but he means to say that when he saw them at a glance, that means when he just saw them for the first time, he thought that they were uncountable, or they were so huge in number, as if they were 10,000s, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. So again, as we can see in the first stanza, last line, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Again here in the second stanza, last line, he is again referring to the swaying of the flowers with the breeze. That movement is for him just like a dance, because these flowers have brought him joy. He was sad, as I had told you in the introduction, that the poet was in a sad mood, but the moment he saw the flowers, his sadness was replaced with happiness. So that happiness he is expressing through the movement of the flowers with the breeze. They are moving or swaying with the breeze, and that movement he has described as a dance. Sprightly dance means a cheerful dance. So for him, it seemed as if the flowers were dancing cheerfully. Then the waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. So he's saying that not only were the flowers swaying with the breeze, but the water of the lake was also dancing. Dancing here actually means the small waves that are created on the surface of a water body when a breeze blows. So that has been described as the dance of the waves. The formation of the waves have been called as the dance, and he is comparing the dance of the waves, or the movement of the waves, with the movement of the flowers. And the poet is saying that they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. That means the dance of the flowers was far better or more cheerful and lively than the movement of the waves. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. So he then says that for a poet, this couldn't be a much happier moment or there couldn't be a much happier moment than this. Gay here means happy. So he's saying that for a poet, this is nothing but an example of ecstasy, or an example of pure happiness. So he was very happy in such a jocund company. Jocund again means cheerful. So he's saying that the company of the flowers was cheerful, so it made him also happy. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. So he kept on staring and staring at the flowers. But at that moment, he did not realize that he is being blessed with something that will remain with him forever. Just like if we inherit wealth, it remains with us. It becomes our inheritance and it remains with us as long as we live. So at that moment he was so overwhelmed, or he was so happy by looking at the flowers, that he forgot everything. He kept on staring at them because those tiny yellow flowers were providing him the much needed relief that he wanted. They were bringing him joy in his moment of sadness. So that is why it is written, I gazed and gazed. That means he kept on looking at the flowers, but at that moment he did not realize that these flowers have made him wealthy. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So the poet then says that that was the moment when he saw the flowers with his own eyes. But after that, for oft, that means often or whenever, he lies down on his couch and he is in a vacant mood, that means he is completely blank, he doesn't know what to do, or he is in a thoughtful mood, whatever may be his mood. If he is not in a happy mood, if he is thoughtful, if he is tensed, then the first thing that comes to his mind is the visual of the daffodils. And that is why he has mentioned here, they flash upon that inward eye. Flash means they appear. Where? In the inward eye here refers to his mind. When he is alone, lying on his couch, either he is completely blank, he cannot think properly about something, or if he is in a very thoughtful or reflective mood, the first thing that comes to his mind to calm him down is the visual of the daffodils. That is why he had said that at that moment he had not realized that they are giving him wealth. This is the wealth he has. Every time he is tensed, the daffodils appear in the mind's eye and give him relief, bring him joy. That is the treasure that he has, which is the bliss of solitude. Bliss means happiness. So whenever he is alone, the flowers, the mere remembrance of the daffodils bring him happiness. And then my heart with pleasure fills. So he forgets all his tensions, his worries, whatever made him become blank, shocked. All these things he forgets whenever he remembers the visual of the daffodils. So he says his heart fills with pleasure and dances with the daffodils. It seems to him as if he is dancing from within. His heart is dancing, his soul is dancing. This dancing is nothing but the pure joy that he experiences the moment he remembers the visual of the daffodils. So this is the poem, The Daffodils.